Wilder, Idaho. We also have a wedding venue at 26115 Lower Pleasant Ridge. And I did write out a statement that I'm going to read from. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I just told you my name and address, and it is just south down 95 of Wilder, and is currently in the area of impact. My property will be on the outside of that after this. Our family's connection to this land goes back. We were the very first Camden County homestead. My daughters are the 6th generation to live on that property. So there is a long Garmin history out there. There's been a history of farming, livestock, farmers markets, gardens, fruit trees, all sorts of agriculture out there. We've definitely helped build what became Wilder and Homedale today. So that land right now that is surrounding us does remain as productive hop fields, corn, and irrigated farmland. Much of it still supporting Camden County seed and hops industry that we have now. Wilder's proposed area of impact, although shrinking, is still would expand the city from 510 acres to more than 3,600 acres, over 7 times its current size. I would like to add from Kate's testimony that they are not prepared for that. They don't have the resources. They don't have the information. So that is concerning me and makes my writing much happier on this. The Idaho Code currently limits an AOI to be very likely to be annexed within 5 years, with no record of population projections, what people plan to do with their properties, whether they want to develop them into subdivisions, yada yada. There's no 5-year service plan to support it. They're still trying to fund the current water situation. So without population growth data, this board really cannot evaluate whether utilities, transportation, or emergency services will be adequate within the 5 years as required. Commissioner Holton, that was one of your rules that you talked about, was, things have to be planned for and implemented within 5 years. Idaho's Local Land Use Planning Act outlines why we plan at all. And that is to ensure that the facilities and services are provided at a reasonable cost, to protect the local economies, and encourage protection of prime agricultural lands and the economic benefits they provide. Garmin Hill represents those goals in living form. Our land and the surrounding farms are not vacant or idle. They are productive, tax-positive operations that fund county services while keeping Wilder's rural character alive. Garmin Hill is an example of still supporting agriculture, still promoting that lifestyle, while also being able to provide other communities resources. Expanding the AOI to include these acres, which is 7 times more than the current city limits, implies that they'll urbanize within 5 years, which would sacrifice functioning farmland and diminish the very economy that really this law is meant to protect. Wilder's history and identity are rooted in agriculture. From the hops that blanket our valley to the seed crops that reach markets worldwide, farming is what sustains this region. Wilder is very well known for the agriculture in general. Allowing large tracts of viable farmland into the AOI without clear evidence of annexation or service needs risks replacing self-sustaining agricultural enterprises with subdivisions that require permanent infrastructure upkeep. We recognize that there are developers who often pay to extend the water and the sewer and the roads initially, but once those systems are dedicated, taxpayers maintain them forever. Pumps, mains, pavement included. Without population forecasts and fiscal modeling, there is no way to ensure that the city can maintain those systems without raising taxes, which does conflict with Code 67-6502B's requirement that services be provided.
Okay, finish it up because you're way past it and we've had.
I'm sorry, the call took most of your time. Wilder's just here to provide our voice.
Whoa. I'm not in the debate.
Okay. The county's comprehensive plan calls for preserving prime soils and directing growth to areas where infrastructure already exists. The boundary.
In one sentence, finish it, please.
Plan in smaller, manageable increments allowing for research about available resources and population growth. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I don't have a question, I just have a comment. I'm not sure where the individual that just testified got our numbers, but the area of impact outside of city limits is barely larger than the area inside city limits. It's not 7 times, so we need to clear that up on the record.
And for the record, in the document, they have population projections, so
Under the proposed, I should say, under the proposed map that's on the screen, they're almost the same.
and I'm just making that point because everybody's entitled to their opinion. No rebuttal, no, you made the comment, and I showed you in my packet that there are projections. So, with that, is there any other questions?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman, just a comment. I know it's difficult to understand how the state statute is supposed to be applied, but if we look at the map, there's a lot of assumption that some of these areas are expanding because there's a comparison of the city limits versus the area of impact. But the statement that it's expanding is not correct. I mean, I'll take help from staff if I am not presenting this correctly. But I asked specifically at the beginning for the amount of acres in the area of impact. There's a reduction of 4,000, over 4,000 acres with this proposal by the City of Wilder. So again, we want to patiently and work through it methodically so that people understand what it is we are talking about and not talking about. So we're not talking about expanding the area of impact for the City of Wilder. It's actually a reduction. I'm belaboring the point, but there's a reason. It's because there's a misunderstanding of what it is that's transpiring within the staff report and the presentation by the city.
Mr. Chairman, I need to correct my statement and probably apologize. I don't know what the number is. I misread this this map, but yeah. So I messed up on that. I read this map to be the pink as in the city limits, and it's actually the gray. But as Commissioner Van Beek stated, the area of impact as proposed is shrinking. So my apologies for that.
Christina, would you have an opinion of what you would feel is a reasonable reduction?
Yes, thank you for allowing me. My request is to deny the current, even though it is a reduction, it was a very large area of impact, which was unreasonable originally. So my request is to reduce it back to the current city limits, and to be consistent just with the fact that you are the area is farmland. That is the concern, is to be able to control the growth and the plans for that and to have a complete understanding of how that's going to impact the community. So I just don't hear or see the documentation or the planning for that.
Okay. So pull it back to the city limits.
I think so. I think it's smart to take your communities and build them stronger within you than spreading. So that would be less expensive, it's economic, it keeps people within a certain area of service, which helps police, city water, everything. So to me, Wilder can still have space within its certain limits that it can grow and expand and do it at a pace that is within the resources.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for the chance.